a meeting between Prince William and the princesses, Beatrice and Eugenie, saying, you guys have got to get your dad to move out of Royal Lodge. Otherwise, we will start re-examining the state of your own titles.
Breaking today, Prince William has made a shock threat to his cousins, the princesses, Beatrice and Eugenie, about their future if their father, Prince Andrew, refuses to follow his demands. Meanwhile, their mother, Fergie, Sarah Ferguson, total meltdown. This is her final straw, according to friends, as she wailed in a recent meeting as her house and lifestyle is threatened. So I'm going to take you through this story. We've got analysis coming up from our Royal Mastermind Angela Levin. Big news! Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may. But first, it's been summed up well here, and let me take you through it, by Tom Sykes in The Royalist, who says Prince William threatens to strip Beatrice and Eugenie's title over Andrew's Royal Lodge standoff. And he says that will happen if Prince Andrew does not move out. The revelation comes days after The Royalist exclusively reported that William was mulling plans to strip HRH's and princely titles from Andrew, Beatrice, Eugenie, Harry, Archie and Lilibet when he becomes king, something I have reported here too on Outspoken. And Tom Sykes writes, in Andrew's mind, staying put is simply good business. Now it is quite clear that William has seized the reins. Insiders say William coordinated the behind-the-scenes effort to force Andrew to stop using his Duke of York title over ruling Palisades, who had long insisted that such a move was impossible. He has also begun steering the eviction negotiations himself, viewing the Royal Lodge dispute as a test case for the kind of monarchy he intends to run, stripped of sentiment, intolerant of scandal, and guided by financial logic. William's view is simple, said one source. If you're not working for the crown, you don't get to live off it. As Charles battles illness and public sympathy, William has emerged as the ruthless de facto power driven by impatience at his father's indecision and fury at the palace's failure to impose order. And the revelation that William had made this threat to Beatrice and Eugenie has come via the hard-left host of the fake news agents, Emily Maitlis. Now, she has revealed this information. I do believe it to be true, but it comes at the same time as she had major egg on her face earlier in the week because she posted and caused huge excitement from the royal press corps that there was going to be some type of scene or event taking place outside Royal Lodge, and it was believed that it would be Charles coming to sort of read the riot act to his brother Andrew, but it never happened at all. So here's Emily Maitlis describing what really went on in her view there, but also dropping this bombshell about William's threat to Beatrice and Eugenie.
To what happened on Thursday night, which was really quite odd, when we got wind of a story that might be developing around Royal Lodge. And the palace told ITN and the Press Association, in other words, the big sort of wire service of broadcasters, to crew the gates outside Windsor Lodge at 8 p.m. because, and this was a phrase they used, there may be passing traffic. Right? Nothing more was said. There may be passing traffic. And so PA was sort of thinking about who do they send. They ended up sending freelancers. In other words, you don't send your big guns, your staff people, unless there's a set piece, a sit down or an actual event. But you would send a freelancer to sort of spot passing traffic. The BBC, I understand, deployed a helicopter. And there was a question over whether there had been, earlier in the day, a meeting between Prince William and the princesses, Beatrice and Eugenie, saying, you guys have got to get your dad to move out of Royal Lodge. Otherwise, we will start re-examining the state of your own titles. I.e., they are, at the moment, allowed to be princesses, but there was a bit of pressure, we understand, being put on the princesses to say, this is going to happen. And obviously you can see why Andrew, as a father, would want to kind of keep his daughters happy and keep their titles in place, come what may. So what we learned was going to happen on Thursday was that Prince Charles, fresh from the Vatican, his audience with the Pope, was going to come via Royal Lodge, to be seen, in other words, to be sort of reading the riot act to his brother. And nobody was going to film the conversation, clearly. Nobody was going to see him sort of stepping out the car, but there was going to be the moment caught on camera of King Charles's car close to or heading towards Royal Lodge.
Yeah.
What happened, I understand, was that the palace then got very nervous. And when they saw the choppers and the helicopters, they thought, oh, this has all got too big. This has, got out of control. And they cancelled the whole thing. The king just went straight home, never came via then. And I heard from somebody the next day who just said, I was lucky enough to be stuck outside Royal Lodge in a storm last night for 5 hours. The palace told us to go down there. Then they chickened out when broadcasters sent massive resources, including the chopper. It was all a bit bonkers. Now Buckingham Palace are angry with us, saying the media created a circus, so they called off whatever was going to happen. And then this person puts, the circus was all of their own making.
Okay, Angela Levin, let's kick off with Prince William making this threat to Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie. Can you blame him here, Angela, given that he is desperate for all of this Andrew mess to be sorted out, and he wants these two young ladies to finally get their father to realise that something more significant has to change?
Yes, I mean, he's very fond of both the young ladies. So I don't think he would want to do it in a callous way, because he asks them to come when there's various engagements, and he gets them to come along and talk to people very nicely. And I don't think he would want to get rid of that in a very brusque way. What I think it's more like is that you can say the same thing, but you have a different attitude to it. I mean, Zara, Princess Anne's daughter, she helps a lot, and she's got no title, and she's absolutely fine about it. So if he can actually use a different manner, in fact he is probably, but people are sort of getting really, really excited and going to sort of say, you've got to do that or that's finished and all that sort of thing. And just say that, have a big think that, do you actually want to have a title? Would you prefer not to, and to just have your names, and that, you can still come and sort out things at parties and all that and engagements? I think that's nothing. I don't think it's good to sort of make it seem that they're cutting it off for these two young women who've done an awful lot of good. They do lots of charities, and they enjoy the whole thing of being royal. And I think that that's really would work well, those dreadful hats. Yes, they learnt from that. They dress very nicely nowadays. They've both got children, and they're married. They're very happy with their partners, and I think that you can just present it in another way. Eugenie doesn't live in the UK anymore. She lives across the sea, and so you can actually build up a whole new life when you're married and children. That perhaps this won't hurt them, and I hope it doesn't, because it's obvious that Prince William knows them very well and understands them, and would just like to help them out. I don't think he's just giving them, count to 10, and if your father's not out, you've had it attitude.
Their mother is not in a good state. No, Angela, not in a good state at all. Sarah Ferguson in total meltdown. Look at this headline from the Daily Mail today that backs up a lot of what we've been reporting. She has nowhere to go or anyone else to go with. And this is reporting from Rebecca English, who writes, sources close to the couple, who have been divorced for almost 30 years, have reacted angrily, however, to such a suggestion. This is about this claim that she's been offered or that they've been offered two houses, Frogmore Cottage and Adelaide Cottage, insisting the offer is misrepresentative of the truth, and it has in fact been on the table for months. It was an option put forward by the other side as at an early stage of negotiations, they claimed. Whether it is still on the table, I don't know. But the suggestion that they have been demanding a new home each is misrepresentative of the truth. No demands have been made. People have been trying to come up with solutions. While Buckingham Palace declined to comment on the claims, insiders say they simply do not recognise this version of events. The source close to Fergie added she is contrite and embarrassed, but also fears the scandal has fatally damaged her own business interests, including a number of new fictional books that are due to come out. People don't want to be associated with her anymore. The honest truth is that she has nowhere to go and no one to go with. Her future is hanging in the balance. Another source added the king is a kind man, but his patience has been pushed to the limit. However, the last thing he wants is another spare, meaning, the memoir brought out by Harry. But the thing is, Angela Levin, I feel like Fergie's tears are for herself here. And the idea that the royal family, which in many ways does mean the British taxpayer, should be finding her a new home decades after she exited the royal family officially, a decade after, remember, she was exposed by the News of the World for trying to sell access to Andrew, is ludicrous. It's nuts. And again, this is why I think Prince William is completely right, saying to Beatrice and Eugenie, get your parents into line. Like, why do they have this expectation that they deserve these two new homes? It's just mad. And even though Fergie's saying, okay, well, that offer was made before this latest scandal, it doesn't make it any better, Angela. What do you make of her meltdown?
Oh, I don't think they deserve a thing. I don't think they should even be allowed in Windsor. Get out of it. To say, oh, they need to be here to see the children more easily. No, that's absolute nonsense, because the children came to them, driving. They can drive over to the children. These children are grown up now. They're quite rich. If their mother's in terrible trouble, they should jolly well help her out if they wanted to. You can't expect us to help her. She's absolutely been totally and utterly appalling, making shocking lies. And if she wrote a book, nobody would believe it. But nowadays, if you take it to the publisher, they want to know about her. They want to know about her ex-husband, and she won't want that at all. She just can't talk about tea and lunch in the royal family. I don't think it will work, and people won't believe it. So it won't make much money, I'm sure. So I don't think they need to worry about that. If they're worried about it, they can just say this is not true. They can speak, this is absolute rubbish. We'd all believe it, because she has been talking absolute rubbish for years about her wonderful husband who never does anything wrong, absolutely perfect, is the best man she's ever come across, blah, blah, blah. And he's absolutely a devil, isn't he? He's absolutely...
Well, yeah, and she's been exposed too, Angela,
Absolutely.
because, of
And the
course,
worst
she
thing-
said she had no contact with Epstein, and she did.
Yes, of course she did. But actually, one of the things that really gets me is that when she went to welcome him coming out of prison, and she took both children, 20 and 19, and this is the age, and these lovely children, which is just his cup of tea. And I thought, I couldn't believe that any mother would do that to her children and let her have a nice time, party, have a little few drinks. She was raving mad to do that. So I have no sympathy with her, not at all. She's lived for nothing in the house, 30 rooms, and she's obviously had plenty of rooms, because she can get a whole area.
Yeah, she's got her
And
whole
she's
wing.
probably not paid a second, not paid a penny, and actually, so she's got to sort it out now. And if companies have stopped the books, which a lot of them have done, because they don't know what to call her at the moment. And that's
Come on,
her
why
luck,
would you
her
be
bad luck.
publishing a work of fiction aimed at children
Yeah.
by Sarah Ferguson, the woman who took her two daughters to meet the world's most infamous paedophile, Jeffrey Epstein, and then even after he had been publicly shamed and had gone to jail for being a paedophile, begged him for $50,000, $100,000. I mean, I completely understand why no company would want to
That's
publish
right.
a book. by a woman
It's
like
her
that,
problem. It's her
aimed at
problem.
children.
You know, if all the books have been closed, that's her bad luck because she's behaved abominably and she's lied abominably. And she hasn't been so perfect about her body anyway, trying to put that nice way. Yeah, I mean, she's absolutely
Well,
appalling.
Angela,
And
there's
she's,
already suggestions in The Sun today that Frogmore Cottage, which remember was the previous home of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, is now being prepared for Andrew, even though he hasn't yet agreed to move in. But first, we've been told our whole lives that wrinkle creams were the easiest way to look younger. Now, one doctor says that's nothing but old news. According to Dr. John Lake, the world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert, most wrinkle fixes on the market are nothing but glorified moisturizers. He says they hardly make a dent on your appearance, some can even be harmful to your skin. Now, recently, Dr. Lake has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices. Why? Well, so that he can pursue a revolutionary anti-aging breakthrough, one that some experts say could empty the wallets of the cosmetic industry. He says it's almost like Photoshop for your face, and you may even be mad after seeing how easy it is to visibly erase your wrinkles from view. His personal clients have dubbed his new do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method because it can take years or even decades off your appearance in under 2 minutes. In light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lake has released a step-by-step video to the public, free and uninterrupted, where he outlines exactly how to use this simple solution from home. And he says if it even helps one person look younger or feel more confident, he will be thrilled knowing he helped. The video has since gone viral. At first, it was shared by users on Facebook, but since then, it's racked up over 2.3 million views and counting. So far, the comments and feedback have been outstanding, with thousands of women reporting they look decades younger. One viewer commented, "Best results of anything I've used. I can't believe how well this works. I'll never stop using this. I don't understand how it works, but the results are great. Thank you." So you can find out more about this yourself right now. Go to bhmd1.com/outspoken or click on the link in the description box below. That's bhmd1.com/outspoken. Now, there is one thing that Dr. Lake asks from his viewers. If watching this video helps you look and feel younger than you have in years, then please share this video with your friends and loved ones. Together, we have the power to help as many women reclaim a youthful look as possible. So go watch the video at bhmd1.com/outspoken right now, or just click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show. They describe it on their front page as Costmore Cottage, and they say cottage decorators at Frogmore Cottage all weekend frantically prepared for shamed Andrew to move in, despite the fact that it had recently had this refurbishment. Matt Wilkinson, the royal editor, writes, Frogmore Cottage has been getting yet another spruce up amid wrangling to get Prince Andrew through the door. Workmen have been seen for weeks at the property in Windsor, which Harry and Meghan spent £2.4 million on in 2019. An insider said people have been inside Frogmore Cottage working day and night. Over the weekend, the lights were on after dark, and workmen have been coming and going for weeks. It shouldn't need a lot of work, as Harry and Meghan spent £2.4 million on repairs just 6 years ago, and no one has lived there since, apart from a few months. Princess Eugenie was there during lockdown. A source close to Sarah yesterday insisted that she had been offered the keys to Adelaide Cottage by Buckingham Palace back in May, but turned it down. However, the idea that the palace first made the offer was denied by a royal source last night. The source close to Sarah told The Sun a number of options were put to them, and this is one of them a few months back. It was put to them, not at their request. A friend of the couple said Frogmore Cottage and Adelaide Cottage were on the table in May. A lot has changed since then, especially with the publication of emails from both Sarah and Andrew to Epstein and them giving up their Duke and Duchess of York titles. Pressure has been cranked up in recent weeks. The two-home solution remains firmly on the table, and reality has hit home and forced them to look at it again. Work across the estate at Frogmore Cottage in 2019 initially cost the taxpayer £2.4 million. It included installing underfloor heating, a copper bath, and garden barbecue with vegan paint for the nursery. It was designed by Soho House interior designer Vicky Charles, and also boasts 2 orangeries, a vegetable garden, and a yoga studio. But it's still not good enough for him, Angela, at Frogmore Cottage. My whole view on this, though, is it just doesn't solve the issue anyway, Angela. Like,
No.
the public are not going to be any less angry because they've gone from one massive mansion in the Windsor Park estate to 2 more smaller mansions within the Windsor
Yes.
Park estate. I just don't really see how this solves the problem at all.
Now, there's two things I'd like to say. One is that they had 10 bedrooms in Frogmore House, and Andrew is very upset that there's not enough room because Harry and Meghan blocked off 5 rooms for I don't know what other things. So they are probably going back to make more bedrooms so that the children or the grandchildren can stay there. But that's not going to change anything. I think anybody sees them in Windsor, they will want to go mad because they shouldn't be there. I think they've got to go straight off, find a place. They're grown up. They can go and find a place. They can go to Scotland. They can go somewhere where they've had a nice time and buy a small cottage. But you see the lies that Sarah's done because she's, I love him, he's so wonderful. Now, when it really comes to the fact that they'll have to be together because they won't have much money and she won't have much space for herself and do what she wants, she suddenly doesn't like him anymore. Hum.
Angela, there are also concerns, though, about the state of Beatrice and Eugenie after this other report from Barbara Davies emerged, which was headlined Inside Andrew's Family Summit. She reports, Angela, as the scandal-ridden House of York continued to crumble this week, and ever-dutiful Princess Beatrice went to see her beleaguered parents. By all accounts, the family summit, which took place at Royal Lodge in Windsor on Monday, was a highly fraught affair. Prince Andrew says a royal insider hadn't consulted or briefed either daughter before being bounced into agreeing a statement last week renouncing the titles given to him by his mother, the late Queen. Amid chaotic scenes in the erstwhile York household, his distraught ex-wife Sarah Ferguson had apparently gone into meltdown when Andrew revealed she would be losing the Duchess title, which for the past 39 years has been such a cash cow for her, and was wailing that he shouldn't do it. Princess Eugenie, meanwhile, who like her sister was blindsided by last week's bombshell statement, did not even attend the crisis meeting at her parents' lavish home. As the Royal Insider puts it, the Royal Lodge summit wasn't a happy occasion and the family, once a strong unit, is fractured. And then it reported an onlooker listening to the princess at a park saying she was on the phone saying she couldn't bring herself to look at the Sunday paper. She looked absolutely devastated. Now, there is an argument being made, Angela, by Ingrid Seward, editor-in-chief of Majesty magazine and author of Sarah, the Life of the Duchess, that actually the two daughters should voluntarily give up their titles. And she says giving up their titles would give them freedom from their parents, stop them being tarred with the same brush, and be a clear sign that they want to make their own way in the world. I think people would hugely respect them for it, and I think ultimately they would be happier. Such a move, of course, would fly in the face of everything these two wealthy and hugely privileged young women were brought up to expect from their royal lives. And Angela, I do think this is a test now for Beatrice and Eugenie. Are they two entitled brats who have unfortunately learned a lot of the bad ways of the world from their two parents? And I think there are a lot of signs there, Angela. I mean, remember they've taken money, or one of them has taken money from Middle Eastern banks, for example. Or are they two people who say, no, it isn't about the title, and we can do good work without the title, and this would be the best way to actually support the royal family through this difficult time? Because, Angela, what we want to also see happen, you see, is the pressure heaped on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to not only give up their titles, but also give up the titles of their two children, Archie and Lily, which I think causes massive potential future reputational damage for the royal family. But what do you make of it, Angela?
Well, as I said, I think they should go and have a talk to Zara, Princess Anne's daughter, and find out and see, how they should behave and what they should do, what their recommendation is. But also, they've got to ask their husbands, for goodness sake. I mean, they must be completely shocked. I wonder if they think, well, this is the person I've married, what a family I'm in. You've got to be very careful. I don't know. They haven't said anything so far, and they seem to love them very much. But actually, it's a big thing for a husband to take. So they've got to tread carefully and have long conversations with him and actually maybe do what he wants rather than do what they feel they want, because it is such a terrible shock. As for Harry and Meghan and those two little ones, out. I mean, they don't know who their family is. They don't know anything about the royal family at all, what it involves, and they don't live there. They have no knowledge of the whole thing. And absolutely, I will be furious if they were given a title. It's because Harry says at the end of it, well, it's something that if they feel they want to pop in for a day and see what it's all like, then they can. No, that's not what it's like. And you know that very well. Thank you.
Yeah, indeed. And the thing is, Angela, I really do believe that this threat from the Sussexes is like the unexploded bomb. They are doing what Andrew and Fergie were doing 20, 30 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Dodgy relationships, getting in with people just to feather their own nests, gifts, that the whole works. And deal with it now, Charles. Deal with it now. If there's one lesson to take from Fergie and Andrew, is that if you'd just dealt with this whole thing back in 2011, if they'd just been thrust out of the royal fold then, we wouldn't have had, 15 years of these headlines, Angela, which have just had a drip effect in terms of damaging the British royal family, damaging the future of the monarchy. I think William very much understands that. But this idea that, Harry and Meghan can be dealt with separately to Andrew and Fergie, I disagree. I think they are as much of a threat as Andrew and Fergie. It's just that we don't know quite the damage they're doing at the moment. We don't know quite the extent of the relationships that they are developing. And remember, Angela, money is only going to get tighter for Harry and Meghan in the coming years. So the desperation will increase, which means the threat level then increases. Wake up, Charles.
Yeah, so I think he's well awake about that. I mean, Meghan is a very scary person because she can do anything and she will work around it and she will do all sorts of things that will make the king and the royal family unhappy. Harry will follow her. We saw that in the book. He's the one where you can see that the book was disgusting because it was actually showing things and saying things that were completely lies. So I think that it ought to be done in one good sweep and then get over it. And I think Camilla should, she's been very quiet about it, but we know that she feels that any attack to women, anything like that, is a terrible thing. So she would feel very negative about the man who's actually done anything to women. I mean, he's just been so terrible, Andrew, that I think she would be very much against him, and that would run through as well. And I think the king should take a lot of advice from her, although she doesn't like to say what she feels he must make the decision about. But if you bring up the fact about sexual abuse of women, then she would be right there. And I think that would be very important. Where I think on the other side is there's Meghan, who absolutely has turned Harry into nothing, really. I mean, he's not like he was. He just is scared of her very highly. And look at that, she's laughing. He's not. He's as unhappy as can be. He doesn't know what she's going to do next or what she wants to do again. This is how he looks all the time. So she would be sad about that, not necessarily about Harry himself, but a woman who could behave in such a terrible way. She did a lot during COVID to help women or men who were at home and they couldn't bear to be with their partner because they are so cruel. And I think that it would be quite a good thing to think about that with Harry and Meghan.
Very good point, Angela Levin, our Royal Mastermind Prince Harry and Queen Camilla's biographer. Thank you so much. And if you do want much more from our royal coverage here on Outspoken, the best thing you can do is sign up to watch our Royal Uncancelled After Show over on Substack, www.outspoken.live. You'll get twice the length of what you've just seen every single weekday with no advertising whatsoever. You can watch either live or on demand. Substack's such an important platform for me, focused on free speech. I'm protected from big tech cancellation there, and I'd love you to be part of our community. You can message me directly there too as a paid monthly or annual subscriber. The address, www.outspoken.live. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.